It is Tuesday, 3:30. We are live, as we do every week. It is Next Round Cocktail Hour with Brittany, Wagner, and Kelly Hunter. I'm Lance Taylor. From the Next Round, this is where we talk advice, adventure, adulting, all kinds of stuff. We love your feedback. And this is where we drink.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we sure do.
Why
On a
not,
Tuesday.
right?
Hey, turning up on a Tuesday.
And
some interesting glasses today, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. It's nobody's fault.
It's okay. You got kids, you got Little League, all that kind of stuff. It's one of the reasons I randomly ran into Brittany on Saturday night. We won't talk about circumstances where, when, all that kind of stuff. But I saw you at a bar late night.
You did?
Yeah.
Like the one time.
Yeah. I think I've seen you before. Yeah.
I'm usually not at a bar late night, but I was that night.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you at a bar earlier during the night, like this time.
Like 3.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Anyway, we're drinking the Block and Barrel Cab. Very, very good.
It is very good.
You know, I started out, I was more of a Pinot fan. And, but I mean, I still drink Pinot. I had a little Pinot on Sunday, but I prefer Cab. I like the heavier body.
I'm Cab, Merlot.
The big
Cab
shoulders.
is my number one choice.
And
Merlot, Red Blend.
I love a good Pinot, but I do like it depends on what I'm eating. Like if I'm having a really good steak, I do like a Cab because it just kind of
But you like more whites, don't you? Like
I do
Chardonnays,
because
Rieslings.
because I'm
hot.
Yes, I'm usually hot, and so I like something
and it is
cool.
a little toasty in the stream right now, but that's okay. We got this.
That's another story. Hey,
exciting.
Next Round Cocktail Hour is brought to you by Blakelee's Bouquets. Graduation still coming up. Father's Day. How about I give Dad a Blakelee bouquet?
Okay.
I like flowers.
Do
I do. I just think they're great, like centerpiece on the island in the kitchen, the table. Just the smell of fresh flowers, I think, is pretty awesome.
You know what I've noticed about Blakelee's too? They I don't know if they spray something on them to make them have more of a smell, but they smell. Like sometimes you get flowers and you're like, why don't I smell these? Every time I get Blakelee's, like I feel like I smell them.
And I try and this is crazy, but because it's convenient, I'll go by and I will order in person just where I can smell that florist smell.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good smell.
Oh, I love some flower smell.
That is a good smell. No, and my husband loves flowers, and I'm not a flower person.
You're not. I am.
So he will give them to me, and he's like, "Don't they look nice?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're fine." The only thing I don't like about flowers is after about 2 or 3 weeks, when it's like you have to like dump them, scrub out the vase.
You don't seem like the traditional, I don't want perfume. I don't want a box of chocolates. I don't want flowers. Give me a couple of Braves tickets and some beer.
And that was so my birthday was the day before Mother's Day this year, and they were like, "You have to tell us what you want." I'm like, "Y'all live with me. You should know the things. I'm not a complicated person. I'm like a Braves t-shirt."
What'd you get?
That's a whole.
We don't want to talk about
that's
it.
a whole. But it's just funny
Moving
because
on.
they're like, "We don't know anything about you." I'm like, You live with me.
Pay attention.
That's all I'm asking is like, just pay attention.
Hey, so Michael says, I have my birthday and Father's Day on the same week, hoping the wife gets me some more TNR gear.
And you know what I heard?
We got an item that I saw today that I'm so excited about. And I don't know if I can talk about it yet. I need to find out if I can, but it's coming.
On Sunday, I was at, this week I'm camp counselor Kelly. And Sunday we were out at the camp getting ready. And one of the dads was there and he had on that's the Next Round hat with the braided thing right there.
Yeah, the rope hat.
So he had that on and he was saying he had ordered some merch for y'all and y'all were out of it. But when y'all got it in, Reed also threw in like several other things. And he's like, I will tell you, those guys, their merch is, first of all, good quality. Thank you, Bobby. Second of all, he's like, but they always like try and make it right. I was like, I know that's
nextroundstore.com.
Yeah.
You can get that. We'll be having some Father's Day specials, but jump on it. We've got summer stuff coming out, and it's really all that I wear and young Jack and Jace. And Layton, I'm like, do you want any? And she's like, I've got a t-shirt every time. I've got a t-shirt. It was like the OG original, this gray t-shirt. And that's the only thing she has and she never wears it. But.
Well, okay, wait, what was his name? Michael? Yeah. Michael, you should tell your wife to watch this show. And then we could hint to her about what you want for Father's Day.
Well, we can come up with some great Father's Day ideas.
Yeah.
Bobby says, I think this is meant as a compliment.
Yes.
Kelly's very much the tomboy who grew up into a hot mama, but is still the cool girl dude.
Wow. Bobby, yes, that made her day.
Because I've never liked the tomboy thing. I'm like, damn, that's kind of a shot a little bit like Peppermint Patty.
I'll take tomboy.
No,
I think tomboy. The only other thing somebody ever said, they're like, you're a hot mess, but it works for you. And I was like, I'll take that as a compliment of sorts, but I like Bobby.
He said hot mom.
Okay, so we'll start with this. By the way, Next Round Cocktail Hour, we invite you guys tell your friends, family, like, thumbs up, any kind of feedback, questions. I'll throw it to both Kelly and Brittany. It's brought to you by Blakelee's Bouquets. But since Bobby said that, we'll start with things you're glad someone told you.
Okay.
And I'll start this real quick. I know you got a big story, but I'll just quickly, and it was kind of like my kids had told me before, I didn't believe it. But when we started doing this venture, I would turn to the side of the camera and I was like, holy shit, I'm getting thin. And nobody's told me this outside of my kids. I thought my kids were messing with me, but I should have listened to my kids earlier and gone to Dr. B, T3hair.net. But like literally my hair has gotten doubly as thick as when I first went to Dr. Beckenstein. So anyway, I'm glad somebody
You're
told me.
glad they told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should. If anybody out there is starting to bald a little bit, then Dr. B can seriously help them out. T3hair.net.
And
I don't have that problem.
What's
But
the thing?
maybe
You don't say
I
it
will one day.
mean. You don't say it mean. You're just like,
Yeah.
listen, this. I
Hey,
think
just
that'd
want
be
to let you
No, I
know.
think it's not even constructive criticism. It's, I don't know, friendly advice or
I
a
agree.
friendly observation.
Helpful hints.
You do have some of the thickest hair I've
You
ever
do.
seen.
You got
I
a
have
lot
super
of
thick hair. I have a lot of hair. I have really good hair. I always say, like, God was like, I'm going to give you some shitty stuff, but I'm going to give you really good hair. Like, that was the trade-off. I got good hair.
Can I see
and
the
then
other things just for a
Shitty
second?
stuff.
shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, what's behind door number 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
unpack the shitty
Yeah,
stuff
I
for
wish
us.
I mean, I think I would have taken the hair. I
Yeah.
do have really, really good hair.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Anyway,
was your topic.
so my topic,
Yeah.
here's why this is my topic. Mine's a little bit like, okay, look, if you're pregnant, if you're a dad of a pregnant person and it's your first child, I need you to like pay attention for the next 5 minutes. When I had Kennedy, I was, first child, only child, but first child, my mom, like, you know how you I don't know, I barely remember this because after you give birth, it's like,
It's a blur.
wow, what's happening? But you give birth to a human being and then they're like, here,
The last thing you want someone to hand you is a baby
Here.
after you've given
good
birth.
luck.
Yeah.
See you later. Hope you're doing well. But then I remember vaguely, like the next day, somebody comes in, I don't know who it was, with like a stack of paperwork.
Oh yeah.
As
Social security, all
As
that
if
stuff.
I'm like, really? But it's like all this paperwork. And I remember my mom was in the room with me when I was filling out all the paperwork.
And you're on a morphine pump too.
And I'm like, I have no idea what my name is. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And I have this crying human for the first time. But there's all this paperwork and you're filling it out. And it's like birth certificate. It's like social security card. It's all kinds of shit. And my mom was like, hey, I was filling out the birth certificate.
Could your mom not fill it out?
I don't know.
See, I'm one of those.
I
If
don't
I've
know.
got somebody with me in the
Maybe
office,
but
will you fill this
anyway,
out for me?
she was like, I was doing the birth certificate and she was like, order 5. And I was like, what? And she was like, order 5 birth certificates for Kennedy. And I'm like, and I was just on
Oh,
drugs
that's so smart.
and had no idea what she was talking about. But I was like, okay, for once in my life, I listened to my mom and I was like,
Oh my God, I've never even
okay.
heard of this.
and I did it. I ordered 5. Okay, so
I've
fast forward.
still got my one.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I have 1 for me. I guess my mom has the other 4. I don't know. But what happens is, and now I know because like you start school and what do you have to do? Give them an original copy.
When
So
you get
there's
your
1.
passport, they send
We
it off.
move, you do it again, you give them an original copy. So Kennedy went on this cruise. She just got back. She's been on this cruise. Well, she doesn't have a passport. So in order for her to be able to go on the cruise, I had to send an original copy of her birth certificate. Well, today I text the mom that she went with and I was like, hey, I forgot to get her birth certificate back from you. Can I run by and get it? And she's like, holy shit, I think I threw it away. Like forgot that it was in the envelope or whatever. She's like, I think I threw it away. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like breathing because I'm already thinking in my mind, I'm already down to 3. Like
Yeah, Kennedy's
like,
got a
I'm
lot
already
of
down to
life.
3.
Yeah.
We got a lot left to go. But she found it. It was in the trash. Her husband went and got it. Thank you, Steve. But anyway, but in that moment today, like where I was thinking, thank you, Mom, for telling
having
me
the
to order
foresight.
5, and thank you, me, for whatever reason in my life that one time for doing it.
Listen,
But I'm like, I bet people don't do that. Like they don't. And why would they?
Until your second child, then you're like, oh yeah.
But like, I bet people don't know, and they only order 1, and they think they're doing great, and you're gonna need 100 million. So order 5, people. Order 5.
I think that is great advice.
No, it absolutely
And moving
is.
forward, I will tell everybody that. I really will. That is one of those things that I've never even thought of. I didn't know if you could get multiple copies.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's a process to get them later. I don't know, but I'm so glad. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, good job.
Good
Mom.
job.
What about you?
I guess mine would come from my dad, where it's kind of a twofer. It's easier to get a job when you have a job, and also
Good one.
the harder you work, the luckier you tend to be. you can create your own luck.
Yeah.
So those are two things I've always like, okay, keep the job. Because I actually was just telling somebody the other day, he's like, I really hate my job. I'm like, well, remember, it's easier to get a job when you have one.
Yeah.
So don't quit that one. I know you're miserable, but
Find one
and then quit your job.
and then walk out.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told this. I don't live by it, but live in the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's
That's a hard
Be
great
where your feet
advice.
are. Yeah.
Like I keep thinking about tonight. I'm going to be hanging out with my daughter. She's going to cook for me. I'm excited about
That's
this.
awesome.
Wow. At your house or at her
Yeah,
place?
at
Okay.
my house.
Okay.
And we were talking about. So I love the movie Parasite. I've only seen it once. Have you guys seen it?
I don't know.
I
maybe.
just referenced that yesterday.
South Korean film. It's great. It's all subtitled because we were looking for a movie to watch last night. Me and the boys. We ended up watching Carlito's Way. Great movie.
Yeah.
They'd never seen it.
Parasite takes a wild turn.
It's unbelievable. It's basically like a South Korean Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But when I told the boys it was all subtitled, they're like, we're watching Ozark, and the Spanish subtitles are enough for us.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And so Leighton was like, I love Parasite. Can we watch it tomorrow night? So we're watching
That's
Parasite.
awesome.
do you ever see flickering lights and think at the end of the movie?
Oh my gosh!
Every time I see flickering lights, I'm like,
If you haven't seen it,
I haven't seen
you gotta
it.
see it. Like, and I don't mind subtitles. In a great movie, you forget you're reading subtitles.
No, it was nominated for an Emmy a couple years ago.
No, it won Best Picture.
Best Picture.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it did.
And that's the only reason. Like I'd heard, like some people that maybe follow, they're like, go see this movie, and it was on cable one night. So
I'll just throw this out there real quick. Bobby asked, when y'all get into adulting, which we're kind of all over the place, adulting adventure advice, can we get the background on why Lance calls his other son his son? He said, I think it's cool as hell. Just wondering if it's too personal. I understand.
is that your Rip Wheeler?
Yeah, I'll try not to get too personal, but Jace, who is Jack's cousin by marriage, was dealt a shit hand when he was younger, and he moved up here with my ex-mother-in-law this past summer. And so she's legally adopted him. But with that said, I get him pretty much half the time. So he's my boy.
He and Jack come kind of as a
And
Yeah.
I love him. He's been a great big brother for Jack. He'll be a senior this coming year in high school. He's just an awesome kid. He's a good bartender too.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes like you're like, okay, maybe this is my moment to pay it forward, like in just
that's
in life
great.
of like,
I told
I
him,
can
I was
afford
like,
you a couple opportunities.
yeah,
And
I told him I've got him.
That's awesome.
We had dinner, a couple of months ago, just me and him, and I was like, moving forward, I got you.
Yeah.
So we're good.
I know.
So, people that get confused, because I do have people that ask me, I didn't know you had two sons. And I'm like, I do now.
Well,
Yeah.
there are people that you see that you're like, I've seen what's happened, and you deserve good things to happen to you in this life.
Yeah.
And you want to just you want good things to happen to them.
Okay, I want to. So we're jumping around because we have multiple topics. And by the way,
we've got a lot to unpack here today.
Next Room Cocktail Hour. We're drinking the Block and Barrel. We do this every Tuesday at
It's very
3:30 with Kelly Hunter, Brittany Wagner. I'm Lance Taylor. It's a good cab. It's brought to you by Blakelee's Bouquets. Anniversary arrangements, do baby gifts, birthday flowers, wedding flowers, funeral flowers. Blakelee'sBouquets.com. They can take care of you. I thought it was hilarious when you were talking about Kennedy. And we just came up with this on the fly. What is the most interesting thing your kid has ever asked you?
Okay, so last night I'm in bed because it's past 8, which is what I do. So I'm in bed and I get a text from Kennedy and she says, "Is Mel stripping real?" And she's upstairs, mind you, in our own house. This is how we communicate.
Come back from a cruise.
She's just come back from like a 10-day cruise to Bahamas, Virgin Islands, all kind of Dominican, all kind
different
of places.
things go.
She's living a better life than you.
She's living my best life at this point. Okay, so anyway, she's upstairs and she's like, "Is Mel stripping real?" And I'm there's that moment where I'm like, it's like type erase. And so then I'm like, I need context. Like, why are you? Is there one upstairs?
Did you meet somebody on the cruise?
Yeah,
Did the doorbell ring?
Where?
Because by the way, Kennedy's 15.
She's
right?
15 and she is beautiful.
Yeah,
and so
she
I am like, where are we coming from?
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I'm watching Magic Mike and I just started it. And is
What's
this
Magic
real?
Mike rated?
It's
a
sure
hard
it's
R.
I mean,
Okay,
look,
but
but
no,
that
just-
child's been watching ours
I
since
know,
she
but
was
it's
like
just funny
10.
because you're
I
like,
mean, I don't think there's any like male junk out. I only saw the first one.
At this point,
she's
I'm
seen
like,
all three, so she could probably
she's
tell
good.
us.
And I'm secure in admitting that I saw the first one. I did not go back for seconds.
Okay.
But
well, she's like, I'm watching Magic Mike. I just started it. Is this real? And I'm like, yes, Mel stripping is real. And she's like, I'm like, why? And she's like, it seems stupid. I'm like, well, is women stripping stupid? Like, come on, because I'm all about some gender equity. So I'm like, well, is it stupid for a female? And she's like, no, because females make a lot of money. Which then I'm like, oh gosh, should I call her down?
Yeah.
Like, do we need? Is she considering?
Right.
Like what? So then I'm like, well, men make a lot of money too. And so then she's like, okay, cool, not stupid then.
Okay.
And then the conversation's over. So this morning I'm like, Kennedy, what? Like what was going on? And she was like, Mom, because I heard her at 2 a.m. And I'm like, were you awake at 2 a.m.? And she was like, yeah, I could not turn it off. She was like, I watched all 3.
Oh my God.
Magic Mike.
So Magic Mike Marathon.
So is there
with my 15-year-old daughter.
Is there more judgment passed on women who go to male strip clubs or men who go to women's strip clubs?
Probably because we live in a double standard life, and I'm the first to say it would probably be
because
women.
I don't even know in Birmingham if there.
Well, like if y'all told me that y'all went to a strip club, like I would process it. I'd be like, okay, but like initially I'd be like, oh shit, like.
Yo, my mom took me to see the Chippendales when I was like.
Yeah, but the Chippendales aren't like the Swinging Richards in Atlanta. Like I've heard of bachelorette parties that go to that.
Yeah, but what about?
That's where they like throw dick in your face. Yeah.
But what about women that accompany men to women's strip clubs?
Oh, I think so. To me, we talked about strip clubs last week for whatever reason, and I haven't been to one. This doesn't sound like a high bar in 5 years, but before that, it had been about 10 years. I'm just not a big strip club guy, but if you've got the right crowd, and I think
because women get in for free.
More importantly, the women that come in, that's where the strippers come to gravitate because they want to talk to the women to see what the story is. Because I should say.
I can't say I've ever really been. I've been to like a not real one.
So I'm gonna shock you, but most strippers I've heard are experimental. So I think they get excited when girls come in.
Because I think.
By the way, we're popping our second bottle for the first time.
I think they're also most likely going to get.
We are making history, folks.
We went from the Block and Barrel, which I really like on the can, to the Cali Red 19 Crimes Snoop Dogg.
Straight Snoop Dogg right here.
I didn't pick this up, but we'll try it out.
Crime number 20 about to happen.
Look at him.
Do you think he committed 19 before he was 19?
No. I think Snoop Dogg's a good dude.
Holy shit, he was a crip. Yeah. I mean, I like Snoop now, and look, everybody can reform. But I bet Snoop, if you like really opened his closet and dug his skeletons out, oh yeah.
I kind of like the guy.
No, I like him. I'm saying, he's reformed. I guess it helps when you've got hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to get on the Snoop Dogg.
I think strippers probably will you're going to get more attention if you go to the mixed crowd as well. Or is that wine?
Do you see that? No, that's sweat. That's boob sweat.
Well, it is warm in here. Shit. And you wore jeans. That's why I'm wearing shorts today. Because we are approaching. This is one of the most random sidebars. No. So this morning I was walking. I have to get out since it's camp week. I have to get up and walk the dog early. And I don't know what made me think of this, but back when I did the show with Herb Wenches a long time ago, and this would drive him crazy, is he'd be like, "It's the dog days of summer." I'm like, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Yeah, it's hot." I'm like, "No, the dog days of." He'd be in the middle of an ad. I'm like, "It's not the dog days of summer." He's like, "Yes, it is." I'm like,
"No, it's not." That was the funniest shit about that show ever.
I'm like, "The dog days of summer is in August because it's like an astrological thing."
Herb's a legend, and love Herb, and I still have a great relationship to Herb. This day, I saw him just a few weeks ago down at the Landing. He's got a great spot on Lake Martin if you're over there. But nobody at Jocks would ever challenge Herb because Herb was like the godfather. But you fought with him so bad on the air. I remember he wore Crocs one time, and she was relentless. And then I'm like, he finally was like, "Kelly, you're the most jaded young female that I've ever met." I mean,
just because he was so easy to get. Like when you find somebody who's easy to gig. And but he was like, "Would you just stop it about the dog days of summer?" But folks, let me tell you,
it's the dog days.
If you're gonna soak your meat, like it would just be a whole but. Yeah, I don't. But I was thinking about how it was getting warm, and I'm like, it is not the dog days of summer yet.
Again, we would love your feedback, questions. Next round cocktail hour is brought to you by Blakelee's Bouquets, baby gifts, birthday flowers, wedding flowers. Blakelee'sBouquets.com. Brittany Wagner, Kelly Hunter. I'm Lance Taylor. Bobby says my ex-wife loved going to strip clubs together. We went to the Furnace, Mons Venus, and Rick's in New Orleans. Strippers loved her.
Exes?
Does the new wife not enjoy this?
I don't know.
Isn't Bobby the one that said
different?
I'm trying to think of. I've had some. So I've got currently somebody that's really close to me, and their wife loves going to strip clubs. Mm. Which I mean, look, whatever, to each their own.
Yeah, I've never.
Yeah, I'm not a strip club guy.
So I don't think I would like it, but I don't know. Who knows?
You never know.
I'm trying to think the most interesting thing my kid has ever asked me.
I know one, but I can't say it because they would kill me.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And they
kill me.
watch.
They do. And so they would absolutely kill me. So that is like when you said that, I immediately knew what it was. I'll have to think because they ask me stuff all the time.
Yeah, I can't really. I don't know. I can't.
That
think
is
of
a good one of like,
Yeah.
is nail stripping a real thing?
Nail stripping real. I'm like, I don't know.
What's his name?
But I
I'm
don't-
downstairs.
Here's the thing, and final thing on this, and I'm going to get to a question that you sent over earlier. I don't think the stripping industry, and I'm just guessing, probably isn't what it once was because of OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was gonna say
On
Like-
social media, social media, period. I think. Like,
But like I had
you
a
used to
friend.
couldn't get that online. You know, like you had to go watch it to get that
Right.
fix. Now you can get that.
Yeah,
fix
now
from your
and so like I legitimately had a friend probably 20 years ago. He was spending $35,000 a year at Sammy's local strip club. True story. And he stopped. Whatever. He doesn't do it anymore. I guess he realized it was a waste of money.
own.
But there's still guys out there that would be willing to do that. Instead, you can get a subscription to OnlyFans, and
Yeah.
instead of, I guess you wouldn't have the interaction you would have with maybe a stripper.
and you don't even know if that person's real
Do you remember when?
Well, I mean, what do you think they're an AI?
or like just some dirty. Like it could be a dude
I was gonna
just
say, it could be
finding
a
pictures
dude.
of women and put. I mean,
No, but I mean, OnlyFans, and I just found this out a couple of months ago. For the majority of the OnlyFans subscriptions, it is people actually having sex on camera.
ew. Okay.
Yeah, like their house, their partner or whatever. And then there's like stars of OnlyFans, and then they do collaborations.
Okay. Collab.
Like I'm going to send Johnny
Whew.
Fox over to Brittany Snow's, and this is a big thing we're going to promote, and people pay for it. Yeah, I mean that's
Wow.
what it's supposed to
Well,
be. now.
I remember because our old station was near that strip club that you referenced. And I remember one day pulling out and I got behind a bright yellow Corvette whose license plate was like stripper. And I was like, I think she just came from right there. And I just came from right there. And she just made a lot more money than I did. So.
That's a great car.
Michael said Snoop's coming to Huntsville this summer.
Is
He was in-
he?
he was in
When?
Birmingham.
Michael, hit us up
Oh,
with
no.
the date
He
on
was in
where.
Birmingham last year or the summer before. I
I'm
remember.
going. That sounds awesome.
And it wasn't a big place, but he was.
I will tell you, like I am a big hip hop fan. Like I love rap. It's my
Same.
favorite genre. But
90s hip hop.
in concert, it's just not the. I mean, there's a lot of bands, even different genres, that just aren't as good, not
Yeah.
nearly as good. Like Metallica is like spot on. Matchbox 20, who I like a lot,
Hey,
they're like spot on. But I've seen hip hop concerts, and I saw Steve Harvey again. Watch the original Kings of Comedy.
Mhm.
And he does a perfect impression. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like you can't really understand what's going on in a hip hop concert because everybody's yelling. You got like 5 guys with mics. It's totally different from what you get from a studio piece.
I had a
in
friend
that
tell
genre.
me he went and saw Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige, and Jay-Z went on first.
Oh, no.
And he was like, after Jay-Z, he's like, I was thinking about leaving. He's like, and then Mary J. came on. He's like,
Jesus.
he's like, that is one of the best performances
Well, I
I've
can
ever
see that.
seen. And
I
I was
mean-
like, of course
But
Jay-Z.
see, Mary J can sing.
Oh, Mary J. can sing
Yeah.
and dance. Like she is, whatever, how many tools you want to say. Like, it was just funny that he was like, oh yeah, Jay-Z did not want to follow Mary J.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think for some of that same reason. I
Yeah,
thought,
and just one that jumps out, Ludacris. I saw Ludacris, and it was when Ludacris was in his heyday. And he's one of those guys like 50 Cent got out of it way too quick, in my opinion. Or, of course, Ludacris's bad moment could have been Baby with Justin
Yeah,
Bieber. That might have killed him. But he was awful in live.
Hmm.
Okay, so you came up with this today.
Mhm.
Have personal and professional lives ever intersected
Yeah.
to your detriment or benefit?
Yeah.
So you
Well,
got a story here, obviously.
and I thought about this because if you try and think about everything we've ever said in front of a camera or in front of a microphone,
God.
hot mic, whatever.
Not
And at
good.
the time before I had kids, it never really occurred to me of like that my actions, my words would ever come back. But there were times also where I'm like, our children would never get into a private school based on if they were to look up like what we were talking about on any given day.
Which is ridiculous. when
Which
you
is
think about it.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, the sins of the father. But this past weekend, I texted the boys because my daughter's about to turn 16 in 2 weeks. She went and took her driver's test the other day, and we go, and she's like, please don't be awkward, because she knows I like to chat people up. She's like, don't say anything, just introduce us. And so I was like, hey, I'm Kelly. I was like, this is my daughter, Layden. And he looks at me and goes, big fan of the next round. And so I was like, so Layden gets in the car and I go text him, I'm like, this is either going to help us or is this going to kill us?
Yeah.
I
don't know where this is
which way
going,
this is gonna
but
go. But anyway, she did fine. She passed it. But it's not so much. I've always thought about this because, when we say something, I own it. Like either I'm going to say I was wrong or I stand by what I said. But you're like, when it affects your family or your children, you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I forget that there's collateral out there that can be damaged. So,
well, I'll be there tomorrow because Kennedy turns 15 tomorrow.
Okay, so
happy birthday, Kennedy. So I'll be there tomorrow. So maybe I'll have the same guy.
But you think about it.
Are you getting her a trip to Turks and Caicos?
Yeah.
Or?
No, her birthday present was this freaking cruise she just went on.
But you think about anything that you've ever said in your past, like how it could come back to
do you know how many nights I laid awake before the Last Chance You came out thinking of all the things they got me saying?
Well, because
I had a mic all the time.
They could have cut up whatever they want.
They could have
to make you look however they wanted
and I would lay awake thinking oh shit, I said that, and how other people could interpret it, or I laid awake, or my dad's gonna hear that, or whatever.
Well, think about if and I don't know about you guys, because I think you were a little wild in high school, right?
In high school, no, but later on,
in college, yeah. I don't know.
College,
yeah. But I mean, some of the shit I would have said on Twitter.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'd be buried. And
or pictures that I would have, anything that I would have.
Oh, we used to have VCR or Polaroids, but having Snapchat as a teenager.
Yeah.
Well,
for me, personal and professional life ever colliding, I thought about yes, because I thought about all the coaches, that I hung out with. Thank God we all had a lot to lose, so nobody was videoing anything, but just all the coaches and
did y'all have a did y'all have a turn your phone in at the door kind of thing?
Kind of. I mean, it kind of was but I mean, all the parties and coaches and shit where personal and professional collided big time, and you would, that same person would walk in your office and a month later and you'd be like, hi. It's so good to see you, but and all you can think about is holy shit.
I mean, y'all are kind of going through it too, but it's I tell my children, I'm trying to help you navigate through a world that did not exist when I was not only your age, but I'm so I'm doing the best I can to kind of help protect you. But oh my gosh, you think about
the thing that's so jacked up is if one of us says something, it not only affects our career, it affects our kids.
Yeah.
If our kids say something, it not only affects them, it affects us.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I know.
If anybody we were associated with, there's been a lot of times where I'm like,
do you guys
don't tag me?
This is we all judge. If some dude was to
I'll
bang,
I'll clean that.
No, if some dude was to bang a dog, I'd be like, this is a weirdo. I would judge him. But when people have people that say something and make mistakes, and it's not something that resonates with me. I just gloss over it, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we might talk about it on the air if it's somebody in sports or entertainment, but it's not I would never hold this Alec Baldwin. Now he shot a guy recently, but even before that, he's calling his daughter a pig. Or
my gosh, that phone call.
Yeah, phone call was pretty infamous.
And then he's like,
but if I met Alec Baldwin, politics aside, and all that kind of stuff, I'd shake his hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not a cancel type of person.
No, but I'm not There's one person who used to work at our station in particular that,
I'm gonna be the first to try this.
You're trying to,
but we would.
You think they do a professional presentation at the table?
I think he does with the hood on too. You go out and you're out and about in Birmingham. You go to games, you go to places. There was one guy who worked at our station who came on after our show back in the day, who you never saw out in public, to never own up to either coaches or the public of what he had said on air. Okay. And I was like, I would go out and people would be like, why would you go after, or why did you say that about somebody? And I'm like, well, and so I was like, I always felt like being out at games or being out in the public, I at least gave people an opportunity to either question what I said or be like, yeah, you're absolutely spot on. But there was a guy who he kind of hid all the time and never would.
I know you're talking about. At the same time, I just don't think that was his personality. I don't think it was that. I just don't think he liked being around people.
He doesn't like being around people. But anyway, sorry. That was
I think, look, I think anytime you're in the public eye, you're putting yourself out there to even say anything.
But what's interesting
And-
about you is you did not sign up
No,
to do that. And
I didn't.
You never signed up for
and
that.
it doesn't end. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing I don't think you
But it also
realize.
benefited your career big time.
Look, I'm not complaining
Like,
about
where do you
it
think
at
you
all.
would be right now if it wasn't for Last Chance U?
Scuba, working in East Mississippi, still tolerating Buddy Stevens.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that I would have gotten another, I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe I would have gotten a great SEC job and
You
I'd
might
be
have met
doing
a
great in the
Rich guy in
SEC
Scuba,
somewhere.
right?
I mean,
You might be on a yacht in the Mediterranean.
shit, no. I mean, maybe I would have gotten a great job and be somewhere else. I don't know. But I think, you put yourself out there and you don't realize that, like, once you put yourself out there, you don't ever get to turn that off.
Yeah.
Like, you're out there forever and everything, and even like the little things, like that day that I came in here when Hugh Freeze got the job at Auburn, and I wasn't lying. Like, I told a real story, but I had no idea that video would go viral.
Oh.
Millions of people would see it. Then that y'all would ask him about it later, and there's that moment where I see y'all interviewing him and I'm like, oh shit, I hope he's not like mad at me or like, like doesn't like say something
I never
negative
said anything
about
like,
me on air.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know how people feel about things that you say. And I don't want to make anybody's like,
But that's what I'm
I don't
saying
wanna
is
hurt anybody's
interesting
feelings or whatever.
about you is you did not ever necessarily sign up for that. You agreed, obviously, when they approached you about
Right. I mean, I signed a
the series.
contract. But I
But
didn't
like
know
this
what
was the
I doing.
occupation we got into.
Y'all went into
of-
it on purpose.
Yeah, but okay, so I said this, we were talking, somebody brought up the Kardashians the other day. I've honestly never seen a full episode of the Kardashians.
I haven't seen
Neither
any.
have
Cruise
I.
I'm
past
not
it or
a
whatever.
fan.
But without Kim Kardashian's Ray J sex tape,
Mhm.
I don't think this empire's there.
It's
I
not.
really don't. I think that's what established
Really?
her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I don't know.
I mean that's just crazy. Like, you never know.
And to have your mom promote it.
Oh my
Well,
God. Yeah.
that's a different story. But like, you never know what's going to take you what direction.
Yeah,
I know we're
what's gonna
getting deep
hit.
there,
Just don't.
Yeah,
but
what's gonna
it's
hit.
kind of crazy.
It really is.
But I
So-
mean, like, I never would have thought, like, when I put on Last Chance U, I was living in a hotel. I'll never forget, because it was 2016, the fall.
Was it? I don't even know.
It was.
People
And-
ask me all the time what year. I'm
And
like,
I put
don't
it
know.
on, and I was like, okay, I'm going to check this thing out. And, I watched the entire thing in like a week. And I remember you were one of the main characters that popped out, but I never thought in a million years that we would end up like collaborating and
I know.
doing stuff together.
Yeah.
It's just
So weird
just-
how
yeah.
life.
it's
No,
crazy.
it is, isn't it? But it's interesting also talking to people like, again, when you and I pursued this job, we knew that there would be confrontation. We knew that we knew that we would be exposing our friends and family to, especially when I start telling a story and they're like,
Mhm.
thanks. That's a great story that you told. It wasn't about you.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always purposely would try and leave my husband out of, especially when I was in radio. I was like, he does not need to be involved
Yeah.
in this. So yeah.
Well, what's funny is like when the show first came out, I had an agent pretty quick, and I wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars like so bad. Like, I was a dancer growing up.
so you could have done a good job.
I
Yeah.
thought I could at
Yeah.
least in my head. Maybe I would have sucked. I
I'm
don't know.
amazed at how
But I
many,
really
like, I've
want
watched
it.
one season of that. I'm amazed, and they've got like 1,000.
Oh,
But I'm amazed at how people that maybe have some kind of athletic ability or whatever can like learn those routines. Like,
And they
yeah.
lose crazy weight.
He did.
Oh
which is
my
probably one
gosh,
reason.
that's
But this was like right after the show came out. This was years ago when it was still. Now it's kind of.
I think it's kind of lost.
It's kinda
a little bit.
silly
It's lost a
now.
little bit
you
of shine.
probably
This was
could get
back
on
when
there,
I
no offense.
Now
because,
I probably could,
Yeah.
but back then it was a little bit more competitive. But I wanted to be on it, and so my agent and I were having a conversation about things I wanted to do or opportunities I wanted to take, and I said, "Look, I know this is crazy, but I really, really, really want to be on Dancing with the Stars." And he said to me, "Well, you got to do something controversial."
That's true.
And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "You've got to do something controversial to like really put your name out on social media, and then when
True.
that hits, I can go to them and be like, look, she's hot right now. All this
Yeah.
shit's flying about whatever she said or whatever she did."
Mhm.
And I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to
I mean,
really
what,
It's
do
not worth-
that
the hit's
to
not
be
worth-
on
yeah.
Dancing with the Stars. Like, I'm not going to create a controversy
Right.
just to get them to accept me.
You're
Like,
not going to
either
take the
I'm
hit for the bid on that. No.
but like I think about that now because now it's been years since Last Chance U, and like it's all like dying down, and I'm like, should I do something controversial just to
Oh, can we come up with something?
No.
spike the
I got some
spike
things.
the
Oh,
opportunities?
that would be
Because
so
the
much
opportunities
fun.
have kind of died, and I'm like, maybe I should do something.
Okay,
to
we're
spike
almost
the
done here. It's
opportunities.
Next Round Cocktail Hour. It's brought to you by Blakelee's Bouquets with Brittany Wagner, Kelly Hunter. I'm Lance Taylor. Wedding flowers, baby gifts, birthday flowers, funeral flowers, anything you need, these guys can handle. Blakelee's Bouquets. So NH3425 says, what would Last Chance U have been like during the pandemic season? Would it have been crazier or the same?
Oh my gosh. I think it would have been really sad. I think Last Chance U, when we did it,
'Cause it seemed
it
like-
had some down moments, but I think it was uplifting. I think during the pandemic it would have been like tragic.
Well, that show to me, it's got like really, really sad elements to it,
Mhm.
because it seems like,
What's the pull? You want to get invested in the story. You want to get
well, and those kids all, there was some dysfunction. I mean, there's dysfunction amongst all of us, but especially for a good majority of those kids, like, whether it
Yeah,
wasn't a solid foundation, economically, whatever it was, but you did get invested in some of those characters. And most of those guys were far from home. And to be in that situation, like, I think the pandemic, it fucked with everybody.
Dude.
And to be at school like that, to be battling grades and trying to get playing time and trying to get to that next level.
But they shut it down. So like those kids would have gone
Did they have a
home.
season or no? Because
No,
I'm
they
like,
had no
okay,
season.
Okay. Gosh, that age, you're like,
Coach
just
Stevens
happened.
opted out of playing, so they had no season. A lot of those kids went home.
Why did he
A lot
opt
of
out
them
of playing?
didn't have. Well, I have my own personal opinion of why he opted out.
I mean, you can throw it out if you want.
I think because the year before they had lost. They didn't have a great season the year before the pandemic. Didn't win the Natty. Like didn't get it done. And I think he knew
Coming back, he didn't have a good team.
he didn't have it, and they were going to lose, and he didn't want to lose, so he opted out.
Do you know? Do they get NIL deals?
No.
No,
No,
I mean they could.
I didn't know if anybody.
I guess.
Maybe
It's
some
good.
beef
Well,
jerky.
you know what's
Scuba Mississippi
unfortunate
was
though?
like-
But what's unfortunate is
The
I think
local-
about it all the time. If NIL had been in place when Last Chance U came out, I mean, Ronald Ollie's life would be. I mean, Ronald Ollie would have been set for life. Like he would have had every NIL deal on the table. Everybody would have wanted to sign him to an NIL deal. John Franklin, like there, a lot of those guys would have made probably, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of NIL deals because they were hot.
Yeah.
When that show came out, I mean, they were hot.
And that's why I was just
and they
wondering.
couldn't make money. And the NCAA was on us like hawks.
What NIL deal could you have gotten?
Oh, I think I could have gotten a ton. I mean, I got a lot of people hitting me up.
Could have gotten-
I had a coffee company hit me up and send me free coffee
You could have gotten clothes
and
hair,
wanted
makeup.
my
Speaking
coffee
of right,
cup
check
on
out
that
Next
thing.
Round Coffee.
Yeah.
Get yours today.
Oh, yeah.
It's whoiscoffee.com.
Always a plug.
Yeah.
Always a plug. I think I could have gotten. Yeah, I probably could have made money, but I think the guys. Look, I had the opportunity to make money anyway because I wasn't regulated by the NCAA. Those guys could not make money, and the NCAA was like
You know what you could do?
watching us.
You could do an OnlyFans,
Oh,
read
there
a
you go.
bedtime story
Yep.
to people.
What?
With a
Yeah,
pen-
like because you're like a counselor. So
or
like
a
you could
pencil
have a
stuck
book.
behind your ear and
Yep.
your glasses, and you could. Oh yeah,
Yep.
we got to
Read
look.
a bedtime story.
Yeah. So every night at 10 o'clock.
Like porn?
No,
No.
if you want,
Just
I
like-
don't know.
No, whatever
Three
you want.
Bears or some shit? Good Night Moon?
Everybody's got fetishes. I
Ludacris
guarantee you could
Oh my god.
Ludacris
You could make
did
some
Llama
side
Llama
cash.
Mad at Mama.
I
And
like
so,
love Llama Llama
So
books.
you could. I mean, if Luda could do that, you could.
People paid him to read Llama
I
Llama.
think I know he did
Mad
it.
at Mama.
I know there's a recording of him doing it, but I'm just saying you could
Yeah.
could take suggestions. What would you like?
What
to
would you
read?
like for me to read?
Pencil stuck behind the ear, glasses up.
See,
Probably Dunaway likes the hair up. when
This
he's got-
could
It's a very bad day.
this
What's that
could be,
book?
you could
Oh,
just
it's
wear a
terrible,
nightie.
horrible.
Oh my
No, I'm just saying this
God.
could be that controversial moment you were looking for that's not too controversial that also
and
pays you
meanwhile,
and gets you
Magic
back
Mike
on
is
the main
playing in
screen.
the background. Kennedy's just like sprawled out on,
I'm just
just
thinking.
like
I'm just
on the
thinking.
floor watching Magic
Okay,
Mike.
that's going to do it for us. We're going to finish this 19 Crimes of Cali Red.
That's not bad.
Is it good?
Snoop Dogg, he's stoned as a bat on the cover, which is
Always.
not shocking.
Can I
right?
hit me
yeah,
up?
Yeah,
It's
I got
not-
you.
You know what commercial I love? The commercial with him and like where they're on the beach.
Andy
and the
Samberg.
guy
Yeah.
starts rapping and he's like, "Is it good?" He's like, "Yeah, no." I love that
It's like,
commercial.
Again, thank you, Blakelee's Bouquets. We do this every
Blakelee's.
single week, every Tuesday at 3:30. Unfortunately, Brittany's not going to be with us next week.
I will not. I'm on vacation. I'm going on vacation.
Is your daughter going with you?
Yeah, yeah. Second vacation.
On her world tour? Of,
I mean,
okay.
But
Yeah.
Kelly and I will be here with some special guest. We'll try to figure
yeah,
out who
I
that
don't know.
is.
Y'all have fun.
Yeah. But again, Blakelee's Bouquets, anniversary arrangements, baby gifts, birthday flowers, funeral flowers, wedding flowers, Blakelee'sBouquets.com. Brittany Wagner, Kelly Hunter, I'm Lance Taylor. Like, subscribe, thumbs up.
Cheers.
Next round tomorrow, 9 to 1. I'm sure there'll be some kind of breaking news, something exciting, always
Golf.
going on. So,
Maybe I'll do something controversial tonight, and there will be breaking news tomorrow.
but we do appreciate all the feedback and the questions and the comments and all that kind of stuff. But you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.